Right, right. Thank you for coming on. I've been a lonely man for the last 2 hours.
Oh, geez, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. I've been literally listening to you all day, just in and out, throughout the whole entire day. And I appreciate your goddamn hustle. Really and
No,
truly, you
I,
have
I,
an indomitable will about you, man.
I appreciate it, and I apologise that if I've waffled on at times. It's just, do you know the difficult part about this 24 hours? You know the gaps between guests. It's just like talking. Like I've read my poems, I've read what I think, and it's just that stigma. Like now, it's about that stigma, and it's just now we've got to break that really. And I'm glad. I'm really excited. You don't know how excited I am to have you on, mate. I've just been lonely. So Ramond, just we've got quite a few listeners listening at the moment, so which is very nice. Just tell us, just introduce yourself first, and tell us where you're from and what you do, and then we can go from there, mate.
Of course. Well, first thing, I am from Canada, so full disclaimer. If I have an accent to you, I guess you're in Australia, right? Then I
No,
apologize.
I'm in the UK. I'm in
You're
the
from
UK.
UK. Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant then.
Do I sound Australian?
You can easily make that mistake. My mistake. No, but yeah, I'm here in Canada. It's 9:30 where I'm at right now, and I do know it's about 2:30 a.m. where you are.
Yeah, 2:30 a.m. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's killer, man. So my evening's just wrapping up. But yeah, I live here in the Toronto, Canada region. In terms of what I do a lot of work regarding recovery coaching as well as mindfulness coaching. I have a extensive history in mental health addiction treatment, from being an addiction counselor to being a peer to be a volunteer mentor for suicide intervention. Now I do a lot of community development work as a community director for a healthcare organization. So very much on the I want to say the corporate side of mental health and really trying to better our communities. But there's a reason why as well, too. When I work with clients, and I've worked with hundreds of clients at this point in time, given hundreds of talks, many, many, many workshops, countless on mental health and how to better our lives and move from addiction to recovery in a lot of circumstances. We still hit this big barrier of what is our community doing for us? What is the government doing for us? What are the policymakers doing for us? And I got so tired of, when I'm working with a client and they're really at the pinnacle, the height of their success, and the only thing that's missing is for somebody else, our community, to actually lend out a helping hand. And in those unfortunate circumstances, I really wanted to make a change. So that's what brought me more so in this Toronto side of things, working in the city, working here in community organizations, and really just try to drive the real change that we got to see. But I was I was listening to you just a few minutes ago, about 15 minutes ago, and you asked this question, what is mental health? And I've thought about that my entire career, man. What is actually mental health? Have you really put thought into that yourself, man?
Yeah, so I keep thinking about it, and it doesn't mean my answer. It's just my view, and it's I think it's everyone's going to have a different answer. So for me, mental health covers. I think we all suffer with mental health. That's what I believe. I believe it covers with. So, for example, we all going to lose someone, unfortunately, a loved one. So we'll end up getting grief, bereavement, and with that we'll have guilt. Did we do enough? And those little things are just going to affect. For me, I don't know if you so. For me, this is mental health, yeah, and then everything else is around it. So anxiety, mental health, depression, mental health, the menopause, what women go through, that's going to cause mental health um, illnesses like what I have, sarcoidosis, is caused mental health, autism,
Mhm.
that's going to cause mental health. It's just because they feel different. And the list goes on. I just feel every human being, and this is why I'm really passionate about breaking that stigma worldwide, because I don't think people realise, and you mentioned something just a minute ago about people say, oh, my government, blah, blah, blah. I've had enough of that conversation, because why are we waiting for the government to make change? As a society, we can get together and make change. And I go back and I say it a lot. We all clap with nurses during COVID, the healthcare system, because the government's told us. As soon as the government's told us to stop, we stopped. We should be applauding them still now. Um, But I just think, going back to your question, sorry, I off tracked. I off tracked
No,
really,
you're
but
right on track, man.
go- going back to your question is, I believe mental health. We all suffer with mental health in one way or one way or another. We all suffer it, and we just don't know it at times. It's because you could walk out the house and hear a big bang. That's going to cause you're going to anxiety. You're going to think, whoa, anxious. That's going to be in your mind thinking, if I go around that corner, it was there. And to me, that's all to do with the mind. And for me, it's all to do with mental health. That's just my view. But people say something different. So what would you, at the moment,
Hmm.
your view be on it? Being a mindfulness coach as well, what's your view on that?
Well, especially when it comes to mindfulness coaching, and it's not too dissimilar from yours, but I've just learned to really simplify things. I simplify things for myself, simplify things for other people that I'm helping to coach as well too. And when I think about mental health, I first think about the second word to mental health, health. If health is something that we honor, that we respect, that we appreciate, then the focus of the mental is really a practice of improving the mental health in any way that we can. Social relationships, exercise, really building meaningful interactions within our life on a daily basis. Like all of these things help promote better mental health. Of course, the concern is what is mental illness and the spectrum on that. And I almost hate utilizing that word illness because I think that it does a disservice to the communities that are actually impacted on that. But mental health and mental illness along the same lines of the same thing. When we practice better mental health, we are improving our mental health. And that's truly what I try to hone into. Mental health is a desire to want to be healthier mentally. And it's as
Yeah.
simple as that for me. Mental illness, that's what you're talking about in terms of the spectrum of anxiety to trauma to schizophrenia and everything that goes along with that. It is such a far reaching expanse. And many people think that they are not in any way connected to that spectrum of mental illness. But as you mentioned, we really and truly are. Everybody has some form of stress and anxiety. These are our fight, flight, freeze mechanisms at play, and everybody feels that. Some people feel it to higher degrees. Everyone feels grief and sadness to some capacity. Of course, there's a good 1 to 2% of the population that we call sociopaths or psychopaths, but even they are not to be stigmatized just because of the lack of empathy that they may experience, right? That's a condition, that's a disorder. And even a loving person, yeah, I could you probably say the same for yourself. Maybe you lack empathy at times. Maybe you had dark times in your life in which everyone else, everything else that mattered once before doesn't matter anymore because what's suppressing your sense of happiness and joy is so powerful and overwhelming. And it's this cloud that you live in. For people that never had poor mental conditions, they will never really understand. But eventually they will. In Canada alone, 50% of all Canadians are going to experience depression at some point in time in their life. And I would go as far to say it's probably the same in the UK, and it's more than the same in the US and all of these westernized nations as well. And if we can all expect to encounter depression at bare minimum, then what else are we ignoring? As you mentioned a few minutes ago, just the focus of a man. One of the biggest traumas that I think a lot of us associate in our life is that we can't show emotion or show vulnerability. A very unfortunate way to be raised, in all honesty, and it's not fair to people that have emotions that need to express them. But when you repress them for years on years on years on your life, that's going to create poor mental conditions and poor mental health in a lot of the individuals that we love and care about, even in our own family. I mean, how much of us have a father that never learned how to say I love you or never said it enough? How much of us had an anxious mother that was maybe even overprotective and coddling, right? These are all symptoms of somebody with poor mental health. So I agree with you. I mean, mental health, as much as it is a desire to want to get better, it's also a very much a clear recognition of this spectrum of the differences of mental conditions of each and every person that lives on this world. And if there's one thing that I've learned from a lot of my practice is that there's one thing that we can all connect on is what is an emotion. It's an emotion. I mean, we connect through emotional experiences. You know exactly what it's like to be angry. So do I. You know exactly what it's like to feel fear. So do I. Depression, anger. So do I. And I tell people when you start connecting to other people, just connect to emotions first and foremost. So when you see a schizophrenic person running down the street screaming, throwing their clothes off, whatever it may be, that person's in a hyper sensitive state of fear, anxiety, worry, distress. and you felt all those emotions at some point in time in your life, you cannot tell me that you don't have a relation to that. And I think even building that connection improves our own sense of sanity and wellness in our minds, because we can stop looking at people as just cases of society that will never be changed, that can never be helped. But we can actually start to look at them as what they are, human beings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, mate, you just nailed it. You know what? I'm going to, this bit, I'm going to actually cut and use to post on my page, because you've just explained it and nailed it, I believe. Because when I try and explain things, and it's probably how I, in my education and stuff like, I to get to my point, I go on a long road, a curvy road, but you just went straight to the point, and I totally made sense, mate. And well done for that, and thank you. But I totally agree. But do you think what do you think is the stigma around it? But like, before we talk about what you do and stuff like, and if you're happy to do some stuff with each other, we like do some stuff. But
Yeah.
the stigma around, for me, is just, it's the worst it's ever been. Like, I believe, and as you said, we're all human beings, regardless color, regardless. And well done. You're getting comments here. Man like Raymond speaking facts, 100%. Well said, Raymond. But there's a question also. How would you define optimal mental health?
Mhm. It's a very good question. For me, myself, when I think of optimal mental health, I think of this good old psychological 101 theory that we learned in any high school. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like this triangle. It starts at the base. You must meet your physiological needs as a human: food, water, sleep. And then it advances itself to love and belonging, advances itself to self-esteem. It advances itself to this position of self-actualization at the end of it. And what that means, what this pyramid represents, is that when we start to meet certain areas of our life that we consider to be needs, and there's a difference between a need and a want. A want is a desire. You're motivated from your dopamine
Yeah,
to do that. A need is something that you actually require to survive. I can't survive 3 days without water. I can't survive 10 days without food. I can't survive without love and belonging with somebody else in my life in terms of my family or my connections. These things are hugely necessary for me to have any sense of identity. And once you have that emboldened sense of identity, then you reach this point called self-actualization. And all self-actualization really means is that you have a secure sense of self. You know who you are, you know your position in the world, and you are more than radically acceptant towards that. So the optimal mental health, even though it may not be the same as somebody else's, you don't have to be a millionaire to have optimal mental health, a billionaire to have optimal mental health. You don't have to be that person that's poor and just fine living day to day just because you get to feed your family. That's good enough for you. That doesn't have to necessarily be an optimal mental health. But if that is a perspective that you hold dear and true to your heart in, this brings meaning to my life, then somebody with meaning does have optimal mental health, in my truest opinion. Somebody that is involved in daily activities, daily routines, daily engagement, that they can definitely say brings value to their life, because so much of us are in this rut where we're not bringing value to your life. You're talking to the same old friends, not bringing value. You're going to the same job, not bringing value. You're going out in the same street to the same convenience store to buy the same pack of smokes, not bringing value in your life. I think we've all been there. These small little things, if I just adjusted my routine, it's like, maybe I'm not going to buy a pack of smokes at the same convenience store today. I'm just going to go out for a run. Or maybe I'm not going to hang out with these friends that all they want to do is talk crap about each other. I'm going to go to a different group, like an MMA gym, and try some jujitsu.
yeah,
Just to make these small shifts. Then can I add more value to my life? And that's why I think that really achieving this idea of an optimal mental health is something that's 100% within anybody's control if you're willing to make the right choices.
yeah. And I love that answer again.
How about
And you're
yourself?
right. Because with me, it's similar. So I used to. You talk about having the same routine, buying the same pack of smoke, listening to the same rubbish from your friends. That was me. I was hanging. I was that was me doing that. But then, obviously, for me to make change, I went through a difficult time in my life where I realised I need to change. I need to keep away from these group of friends. I've even disconnected from my parents.
Yeah. Can I ask what actually prompted that desire to want to change for you?
Um, so a few things. So I don't know. Do you know my story of what happened? You know,
I've listened to quite a bit, and you've spoken about your traumatic past as well too.
yeah, yeah. So obviously the past happened. So I'll be honest, was if I tried an overdose, which I haven't really spoke about much, in October, where I wanted to be dead. I felt no one wanted to listen to me. My circle at the time, who was with me all the time, the bitchiness and all that happened. But as soon as they saw change in me, you see them scatter away and disconnect. So then eventually it unfortunately it took me to nearly lose my children and my partner. Um, and it's disgusting, and I'll always feel ashamed of that. That it took that for me to realise you need to sort your shit out, Kieran. And mind my French, but you need to sort your shit out, and you need to make sacrifices and make steps to change. And then what I had done, which was a mistake at the first time when I tried to make change, was I wanted to change for others. Yeah, not
Mm,
for me. I wanted to change for others. And then a couple of weeks went by. I could feel I weren't happy. I'm sitting in counselling. I'm not talking to so and so, but I'm doing this for other people, for people to like me and stuff like. When I realised self care, um, that was a game changer for me, because I realised as soon as I spent self care on me, my children now feed off my happiness, and they're just lighting up the room. And then my self care was right. I don't want to be associated with those kind of conversations. I don't want to go to the same shop every day. So what I do, I've got different shops around my location. I change the way I walk sometimes and what shops I go, because I thought if I'm going to keep going to that shop, it's the same old pattern, same old routine, and I want to mix it up a little bit. But as long as I'm doing a bit of self care in between, which is going for that walk, but doing a different routine, then people, for me, it was the game changer of what I needed. Hence why I'm here today.
I'm so glad that you said that. You know, one of my core teachings is learn to love yourself, appreciate yourself, respect yourself, almost as if you are a narcissist. And the way that I say that is because if you can't be there for yourself, as RuPaul says, how the hell are you going to be there for anybody else? And it's very true. If you can to love yourself, you do love the others around you better. Accept yourself, same thing. This idea of the self is so important, and I think that a lot of us stray away from wanting to invest into ourselves, especially through self-care, because one, sometimes it takes a lot of work and it becomes more self-maintenance, just as valuable as a process. But other times we feel like we are harming or hurting the ones around us. Hey, I've been through a very similar situation like you. A little bit about my story. I'm 8 years in recovery. You know, I went through my own attempts on my own personal life. I've gone through drug overdoses as well too. I've been a polysubstance user, and there is a gateway out of this. But really and truly, I did all these things. If I look back on it, back into my young years, in order to fit in. Like I was just talking about today with a colleague of mine. It's like, when did you pick up smoking, and why did you actually start doing smoking cigarettes? And I was like, well, because I thought it was cool, right? I mean,
Mm.
that was my reason. If I could be completely honest with myself, I saw it on TV. I saw some cool kids doing it. I thought it made me look more mature, and it made me fit in, and made me look a little bit more high status to other individuals. And then
Snap.
one drug after another, right? It's just a little bit of a gateway after that to before you find yourself needing to escape from reality and all the stresses that you've created in your own life because of your own self-indulged behaviors. That's a lot of the times based on what you think other people want of you. You got to be this cool guy. You got to be this party guy. You got to
Yeah,
be the it guy, right?
yeah, and I totally agree with that, because that's what I was like. Oh, you look back on your younger days, and part of me is thinking the way I was brought up. A lot of it makes sense now of how my childhood was and stuff like that. But at the same time, a lot of it, even in my younger 30s, like I'm 35 now, yeah, 35. But I would say even 5 years ago, I'd done all those things what you just mentioned just to try and fit in,
Yes.
um, just to try and fit in. And it's come to the point where now, take me as who I am. If you don't like me, I'll move on. It is
Love
what it is.
it.
But I will always say I will support anyone, offer my support. A safe space between us is for everyone. But if you don't want me to be that person, then okay, move on. I'm not going to cry over it anymore. And I'm not going to fit in. Take me for who I am. and I'll take you as who you are. Because a lot of things you might have had someone say to you before you come on, oh, curing this, curing that, curing this. I believe in take someone on face value. Don't listen to hearsay. And that's the way I'm living my life at the moment. And at the moment, I'm the happiest I've ever been, if I'm honest.
Right, that's the key that a lot of people forget, that when you just choose to invest and love yourself and love you for who you are, and not care what other people think, then that's when you truly come into your own. I think that's what growing up truly is. And all, we're not too far apart,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
That's what truly growing up is, in all honesty. And I wanted to get back to the original question, about stigma, because I think that's a big part of your theme of what you're talking about for this whole
Mm.
conversation. But also, I mean, I've seen that you're invested into this crusade that I understand is lasting for the next about 4 months or so of doing these long run podcasts. What is the message you're trying to bring across here?
So the message, just quickly, a safe space. For me to tell you the message, I need to tell you what a safe space was created for. So a safe space was obviously to have a podcast, was only for my community in Southeast London, UK, for people to talk about their mental health without judgment. The first person who actually come and spoke to me was from Australia, and I thought, wow, okay. But they were crying for help. They didn't want to come on a podcast. They were crying for help. And I remembered what all of a sudden my head thought, remember when you cried for help and you got rejected? How can you reject this person? Because my plan was, I thought, Australia, where do I start? So I spent a couple of hours doing research on Australia. So, when you Google, for example, say in your area in Canada, I need to see I've got anxiety and depression. I need to see a counsellor for that. You're
Yeah.
going to get a list. You're going to get lists and lists and lists and lists. So basically, what I kind of do is shorten that list for them, make the phone calls, discuss what these people, charities do and counsellors do, and shorten it to the best two. And if I can refer myself for them, I would. If not, I get the charity or counsellor or therapy to call the member back, or it's kind of signposting. So that's what we do now. So in 5 weeks, we've supported 189 people, 189 people around the world. But I have to say, only about 20 of them have been UK. The rest have been abroad.
Okay. Wow. This is a
Um,
real worldwide impact you're having.
so but what I'm finding is a good study. I'm keeping note. So what I've started doing is keeping a note of where everyone's from, because it's interesting. I'm finding it interesting where I'm getting a lot of contacts, and a lot of contact communicating. It's just on Australia and America, and a few from Canada, and hardly any from the UK. And I'm figuring why is that? So I'm trying to do studying and research on that. So back to your question on where I want to go for this. So break the stigma. It's break the stigma, break the silence. So forget just UK, worldwide. I believe everyone says you've got no chance in that. But I believe, why haven't I got no chance in that? If we keep kicking doors, kicking and screaming, I keep using this platform. And I started with 2 followers. Now I'm on 400. So if I keep just using this platform to echo what I'm saying, to go out campaigning, and I don't want nothing out of it. We do this all for nothing. And then I was asked, why don't you become a non-profit charity? And I thought about it, but I think, why become a non-profit charity when there's so many charities out there in the world already, and organisations and foundations that ain't getting the support they need anyway? So why don't we support them? So we've linked up with a few charities and causes in the UK, some abroad as well, and some worldwide, where I thought, why don't we do a 4-month campaign, and raise as much as money we can, but let's do challenges that will help us with our mental health, help me learn, meet people like yourself, and some inspiring people. So there's 2 things I want to achieve. One is to make sure worldwide we are talking about it on a regular basis, that it's put in our daily routine in our house where, like me and you brushing our teeth in the morning, where where part of our routine is, right, we check on everyone in the house. You okay? Have that little 10-minute chat, because it don't happen sometimes. You brush your teeth, you wash your face, out the door. But we need to sit back and think, no, right, we'll have that conversation, and it's educating children. Because my concern is the next generation, when I'm not here and you're not here, is if we can't talk about mental health without feeling that stigma, how hard is it going to be for the next lot of kids, etc., coming up? So that's kind of my mission, is to get it and into schools, educated worldwide, into schools, in the curriculum, into studies, into like English and maths. People study, why they're not studying mental health? That's what I believe, anyway, or mental illness.
Wow. That is an amazing, not only vision, but actually a goal that you're obviously working towards very diligently right now. I mean, when I see the followers that you have and how they've been climbing as you started to do this podcast as well, too, it's like, this is working and it's going to continue to work and it's going to continue to spread kind of like a plague in itself, but in a very, very good way. And this message is something that not only a lot of people need to hear, but a lot of people want to hear as well. We all need that experience of it's okay. We can talk about our mental health, and however your message chooses to resonate with people, I think it's going to affect a lot of life and open a lot of doors as well too. So really and truly, congrats to what you're doing, and this is something I'm going to keep supporting 100%.
No, and I appreciate it, but it's also credit to the likes of you, because I want to. It was also building these good relationships, because I've learned a lot of people like yourself, amazing guests. Every guest has been inspiring to me, and people say, "How do you self care? You need to take a rest." Because some of the girls who help me behind the scenes with admin stuff and stuff, because it's all voluntary. We everything's been out of our own pocket. What we can do, and I want nothing out of this, and it's just my self care is talking to you right now.
I
That's
love
my
it.
self care, because I get inspired, because I used to be that judgmental person, thinking the world revolved around me, revolved around Kieran. No one knows what I've been through. No one knows this. But hang on, I've been talking to people now, and even though my story can be, it's a bit dark, but it's nothing compared to many other people, and I believe everyone has a unique, beautiful story that we should be expressing and telling. And who are we? Who am I to tell your story is a rubbish story? Who am I to tell you that your story is wrong, because that's unique to you? And I
Yes.
just want people to have that same mindset, as well, mate. So I'm just inspired and applaud people like you to come on as well. You're teaching me as well, so I inspire that for you to come on teaching me, telling the listeners out there what you do. It's also helping me be able to help others as well. So I applaud you. It's not just me. It's your space as well. It's a bit of cliche, but it's your space as well. It's not just mine.
It's the perfect thing. I know. But thank you. I really appreciate that. And a lot of what you're saying has me thinking about that stigma element, and where did it actually come from? Why are we still experiencing it? How do we then move past it? And the first thing that comes into my mind is I always like to look at things in comparison to other things. Like you could look at stigma in relation to, let's just say, ethnic stigma or cultural stigma, or again, mental health stigma. One of the greatest educations that I've gotten was looking at stigma through the lens of the LGBTQ plus community and the experiences that they had to go through in the Western world, being North America as well as France and the UK, primarily in the 80s and the 90s, in order to get to this point where the healthcare system in these countries would take the high rising rates of HIV in the LGBTQ plus community seriously, to the point where they get effective treatment and urgent treatment as well too. In order for them to actually get to the point where they take it seriously, a lot of advocacy had to take place. Now that might have even been before my time, before I was born in this world, but when I look back and I see the footage of parades, marches, demonstrations, that true advocacy just to be heard, a lot of this was from a very marginalized community, first and foremost being the LGBT community, a community that a lot of people spat on, a lot of people disrespected, a lot of people shouted blasphemy against, but still they stood strong because they know that they were humans too, and they matter just as much as anybody else. And their voices eventually led to effective treatments that you see in HIV right now. And fast forward a few years, now we are more willing and able to talk about what's happening beneath our little noggins over here in regard to our mental health and the very complex dynamics that add on to creating better mental health or worse mental health. I think that the reason why mental health still has so much stigma is because there's a vast array of contributing factors that lead into somebody's mental health condition. Like if you think about it, like let's just say take a rich girl from the California hills in I guess America, right? This is Los Angeles. Sorry, I'm not American. She goes through depression. She goes through depression, and she's living in a great fancy mansion with a beach right by her house. I mean, how does somebody like that go through depression, right? I mean, who are we to judge? That's the first thing we should be asking. Who are we to judge? We don't know if it could be a genetic predisposition. We don't know if they've experienced multiple traumas throughout the course of their life or multiple attachment issues throughout their life, where they may have had an absentee father always busy with working and an absentee mother always busy socializing. I mean, these are conditions that many people don't choose to recognize when you look at the superficial face value of what is the current condition of your life. Are you housed? Do you have nice clothes? You got a job? Well, things must be right for you. So then people feel obligated to shut up. And when everyone is shutting their mouths at this idea that I shouldn't be feeling sad, I shouldn't be feeling too anxious, I shouldn't be getting too angry, I shouldn't be engaging with my emotions, when everyone's just keeping quiet about it, then it becomes this taboo to talk about. And here we are talking about it right now because first and foremost, it's the greatest truth that you can ever express about yourself. Like, I'm not feeling good today. Goddamn, can I just say it out loud, please? I'm not feeling okay today. Is that okay to say? Yes, it is. And the reason why it's okay to say is because it's real. The converse is that you lie. You lie, you shove it deep down inside. And you might not be lying to the people around you, but you are. But more importantly, you're lying to yourself. When you lie to yourself, you spin these things called cognitive distortions, and you're going to entrap yourself in a web of lies to the point where you start to lose sense of your own identity. You don't even know that you're anxious. You don't even know that you're getting angry. You don't even know that you're getting depressed. So you're so detached away from your true self. And that's what I choose to use mindfulness for. That real tool to get us back to our truest selves, engaging with our emotions to the fullest degree so that we can break this stigma that pain, hurt, worry, fear, anxiety, stress is something I need to be afraid of, is something I need to be quiet about, because that's not a healthy truth to tell kids. It's not a healthy truth to tell our grandparents who may still bark at the idea that mental health is something they never experienced in their day type of thing. Right? It's still worthwhile to tell everybody, because if it does one thing in this world, it encourages people to tell the truth about themselves. And who doesn't want a genuine individual, right?
Exactly. And you talk about that did you say California? The girl, yeah. So I say to my children, so they go, oh, look at that car, Lamborghini. Someone's driving a big Tesla or a Lamborghini. But I say, kids, just because they got that Lamborghini, you just don't know. They might be driving that and want to hit it in the next in the next concrete wall or something. Because just because they live in that luxury life, it doesn't mean they don't go through trauma. Don't mean they don't go through anxiety, depression, and abuse, and domestic abuse, and sexual abuse, and like you said, being distanced from the parents because the parents have brought up them in that world and they're always busy. It doesn't mean that. So who are we to say, okay, good luck to them, but we might be actually in that better place than that person. So I just think you're correct. Everyone and anyone. And you talk about the LBGT community, yeah, and what I wanted to talk about that quickly was here in the UK, or especially in my area, it's still not the greatest of support, and I just look at it and think, who am I? It's my body, it's my skin. If I want to be attracted to a woman, that's my choice. If I want to be attracted to a man, that's my choice. It's my body, my skin. Who am I, who are you to judge me for that? Yeah. It's like I've dyed my hair blue today for the future. Thank you. But the first thing this morning, I got called, and when I say the letter P, I think you could assume my colour. Yeah, a P blue Smurf, and I thought, why would you just like why?
Hey, that person is hurt. That person is afraid. That person has been called bullcrap names their entire life, and they're
Mm,
redirecting their pain. They continue a cycle, right? If you know Tupac, right? You
yeah,
know
yeah,
the tattoo that he has across his stomach, Thug Life. A lot of people misinterpret that. It means the hurt we give little infants f's over everybody. That's what that actually means, and it's true when it says if Tupac can recognize that from his own upbringing experiences, that the hate that we continue to spew, it hurts everybody, then this is just a repetitive cycle. And you can see the cycle, right, in your community. You can
yeah.
see the cycle when bullies be bullies, right? Those are the
Mm.
most hurt individuals.
And that's what I say because I'm been trying to contact a lot of schools, and I don't know if you heard me earlier. Like I basically said to all the head teachers in my local community, you should be ashamed of yourself because I've had a lot of teachers and TAs come up to me saying they don't feel supported about their mental health. But I want to go into schools because I believe if mental health is spoken about in schools, it won't stop bullying, but the bullies need support because we need to find out what's underneath there instead of just always telling them off. What's underneath there?
Exactly.
What's making you do that? And you'll probably find some kind of trauma or something beneath that what they've gone through themselves. But it also might realize to those bullies, I did not realize that I can make someone feel that low. And it will reduce the bullying, I believe. But that's and I've just not had no response yet from any schools around here. any any schools.
Again, this is not even something you have to worry about because that will come in itself. We've only started to actually open that up in the Canadian education system over here, where we are actually bringing mental health programming into our schools as a part of curriculum. And really and truly, global pandemics like COVID was a big part to play of that, to see how kids now have different emotional conditions versus how they were prior to
Mm,
COVID. Nowadays, because of that social detachment that they've been experiencing, heightened anxiety is at an all-time high. Fear and depression of social spaces. These things are at an all-time high for Generation Z. They are the most anxious generation that has ever existed, and it's because we kept on repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. We might be in the early stages here in Canada, and truth be told, I don't even think our school systems know how to do it well. I just met with a policymaker at the District School Board of Toronto very recently, last week, and they're still trying to debate if teaching certain concepts related to mental health, such as anxiety, is appropriate in the school system, because some people might misinterpret that as misinformation or misdiagnosis or mischaracterization of certain symptoms of stress. So there's huge debates already taking place right now, and it's old generations versus new. If there's one thing that we understand about children right now is that these little guys are, I want to say, the most in touch with their emotions than any other type of human being, but also the least out of touch with their emotions because they don't understand their emotions in the same conceptual ways us adults do. But that's where the big danger is. In these developmental stages of their life, from 2 to 5, from 5 to 8, from 8 to going into their adolescent phases into 12, 13, 14. Those are the most important days of their life in which we must
yeah,
cultivate the proper, well, we can't force an identity on somebody, but we can help cultivate the proper understanding towards a sense of self, such as you do have emotions, you do have fears. Yes, you are going to go through these changes. Yes, you will have acne and it'll be something that's uncomfortable for you. Yes, you're going to feel short. Yes, you're going to feel maybe not the smartest kids in the class, but it's okay to talk about these things because it doesn't make you less than a human. If we're not trying to promote this in our school system, then we're always forced on relying on good teachers, and there's never going to be enough of them. I mean, one thing Canada has a problem with is paying teachers at appropriate wage, and I can only guess this the same thing where you are. And
yeah,
if we don't have,
exactly.
yeah, if we don't have good educators, then we're just still in the same cycle where we then have to rely on parents. But then you see the economies that we're in right now, in which parents barely have time for themselves because they're
Just,
working so much to buy a loaf of bread at the grocery store. We're in a crazy world right now. And I think mental health gets put on the back burner, but we can't afford for that to happen. Messages like this need to continue to endorse themselves. And I will be the first to say that I actually like to say this out loud. I think mental health is the it thing now. Most content creators, most social media stars, if you're not relating to mental health in some way, shape, or form, then you're almost irrelatable to the general populace. So it being the it thing, that's where we take advantage with this type of advocacy, with this type of talk, right? And stigma, I think, in the long run, it breaks itself because more people start caring enough not to care anymore.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I just want more people to be honest, I didn't realise till I've started connecting with people that there are people around the world who are singing the same hymn sheet of me with me, and it's like, and as you say, it's the in it thing now at the moment, and it's just it will cure itself because gradually we keep sending these messages, and the more people jump on it on these kind of things, um, we'll start spending. Especially, it's like today. I've had some children watching live, and I just thought, okay, and I thought that they'd be on here for 10 minutes. They've actually spent hours watching and listening, and there might be a reason why they're listening and watching. But talking about your mindfulness coaching, so just
Mhm.
for the viewers and listeners, are you happy to do a little session with me and
Love it. Yes.
let's do a little session and let's show people what you do. Trying to get comfy. My bum has been hurting.
You promise you're not gonna fall asleep on me?
No, no, of course not. If I do, please carry on the show. The show's yours.
Of course, I'm notorious for putting people to sleep on a meditation, but I've actually been told that that is a good thing. So,
Are you?
yes, it's a very good thing though. I like to
Oh,
think that you reach such a grounding phase that you just and that's fine with me.
all right. If I do, please just scream down the headphones. But try and show me you can put me to sleep. Come on, let's do it.
Okay, we're gonna go for about 5 to 10 minutes or whenever it's clever.
Yeah, cool.
Meditation practices can be varied, they can be different, they can be inspiring, they can be scary, they can be lonely, they can be new. A meditation practice is your meditation. It is your practice. It is your focus, intention, and your guidance. In this meditation, we're going to go through a very simple breathwork technique 4-7-4. That's 4 seconds inhale, 7 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale, repeated in cycles of 3. The value of breath work with meditation is even if you do not believe that you can find calm, you always will, because the breath does not care about your mind. It only cares about your body. Homeostasis, finding balance within your nervous system, is something that is accomplished by increasing oxygen and carbon dioxide into your body, just simply through breathing. So as we go through today's breath work, find your peace, find your calm, set your intention, clear some space, and open your mind. Exhaling for 4, exhale in 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling slowly for as much as you can. Hold in. Now, this is just some common breath work to get your body acclimated and adjusted. Exhale in for 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Just let it all trickle out. It'll come out in its own time. We're going to slow things down and re-engage. Exhaling all the air out of your lungs. Slow inhale for 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 7. Now things may feel tighter. Things may feel more uncomfortable. That's okay. Your body will adapt. Exhaling for 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go for one more cycle, but let's just allow our body to rest right now. Getting in tune with ourselves. Reminding ourselves that self-care can sometimes feel like self-maintenance. But that's okay. Reminding myself that in this moment, wherever my thoughts are, wherever my emotions are, That's okay. Mindfulness is not an activity to find escape, it's to find insight. Wherever your thoughts are, wherever your emotions are, it's okay. Going into our 4-7-4 breath work, exhaling for 4. Just let your body rest, re-engage and take in air when you're comfortable and you feel like it. Okay. And exhaling completely. Inhaling for 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it all trickle out in its own time. Exhaling completely. Slow inhale for 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 7. 1. Think about where your mind goes when the counting stops. Bringing it back. Exhale in for 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it all trickle out on its own time. These breathing exercises stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. It's responsible for increasing your appetite, promoting sleep, allowing you to balance those fight, flight, freeze mechanisms. And it's all done by air. A very special connection we have to this element, especially when we learn to own it. Exhaling completely. Exhale. Slow inhale for 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have one more strong cycle after this. Just let it all trickle out. Find your peace. Find your calm. Find your quiet. Refind your intention. Why are we here today? Who are you here for? Are you including yourself in this thought? Wherever your mind is right now, take back control. Bring it to the breath. Exhale completely. Slow inhale for 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 7. 1. Just hold. Just hold. Exhale slowly for as long as you can. The most effective part of breathing exercises is actually the exhale. This creates the deepest stimulation. Exhaling completely, emptying out our lungs. Slow inhale for 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, holding 7, 1, 2, 3. Slow exhale for 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Just find your calm. Return back to natural breathing pattern. Come back to yourself. It's okay. You meditated for 10 minutes now. That's good.
That was 10 minutes.
Time flies.
Mate, that was. Do you know what? I can feel why people say you went to go to sleep. I was nearly. You know what, mate? I swear on my children's life, I was going, and underneath, I was just kicked my foot every time I could feel myself dropping. I don't know if you saw a few times my head, but just a minute ago, I had to get up. I was going.
I was wondering if it was going to be a good idea. I'm like, oh, this guy's 17 minutes in. He's going left on the podcast.
So,
But again, I mean, that's my greatest joy when doing meditations. I mean, if you're comfortable enough to fall asleep in my presence, which I would hope for more than anything else in the world, then please go ahead. It is a great gift and it's a great sense of security. And it just means that your body's calm and relaxed.
yeah, mate, I think I need your voice on audio. That will make me and that session, because that will make me go to sleep. I don't sleep well as it is, and something like that would be amazing.
Well, shameless plug, of course. Just like many other people, I do have my own YouTube channel. You'll find it just by clicking on my page or searching me up, Ramond Phipps.
Do it now. What's the name?
On YouTube, The Detailed Mood. There you'll find many of my talks, many of my meditations, more content to come as well, to looking to do collaborative podcasts like this going forward into the future, because the conversation never stops. The education never stops. Mindfulness never stops. It's a journey. So let's look forward to it together for sure. I mean, this is only the start, and I'm very, very glad I had the chance to meet you today, Karen. Really and truly, you are an awesome man.
No, so are you, mate. Just quick, before we end, the detailed mood is it?
The Detailed Mood. Maybe I'll type it in the little private chat here.
Yeah. Send it to me. And what I'll do, I'll add it to the page as well. I'll add it to my page, and what I'll do, I'll add it to this bit of the podcast. I'd like to share it with everyone who's not been awake at this time. Because I've found you've been you've explained things, and you've said it's your views, but it's exactly how we all should be viewing things, and how you have explained a lot of it. It's just so much easier to understand. So I thank you for coming on so much, and please stay in contact with us though. Like
Yes. I'm a member.
definitely
I'm here for life, man.
good to hear. But what we do, just quickly before you go, just talk to us how we can, if someone wanted to work with you, how can we go about doing that?
Yeah, so simple stuff. I recently started up a Facebook group, actually. It's there right on my name, Mood. Right now, I'm not taking on clients. I will in the very near future, but that's going to be one of the more primary ways to connect with me, and the coaching practice that I do run. And really and truly, we're open to everybody once we start to open up our sessions from all around the world. As you can see, we can have very meaningful engagements over our camera. I definitely love in person. So for anybody that wants to fly to Toronto, Canada, just don't come here during like the winter seasons. We're winter 7 months out of the year here. So
What's the best months?
Best month would be like right now, May into my favorite month, October. After that, then you might not want to find yourself in Canada for a little while.
Is it that bad? Does it get that bad?
Oh, it's Canada. We get bad. We get bad. And the funny thing is, Toronto's not even the worst of it. The middle regions of Canada. That's we're talking about. You do Celsius over there in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about negative 40, 50 degree weathers in central Canada. It gets pretty naughty.
But you know how to cope with it. Like with us, if with a bit of rain or a bit of snow, everything shuts down here.
Yeah,
it does. I'm not even joking. A bit of snow, That's it. The train stopped. The world stopped. You can't get to work. That's it. Done. And I'm talking about this much of snow.
Yeah, when we get snow this high, yeah, people laugh at you if you're asking for snow days. It's crazy. Little kids don't
That's
have it.
amazing. That's amazing. But I really, Raymond, I really thank you so much for coming on. You're a really nice, lovely gentleman, and I really appreciate it. And I will definitely stay in contact with you. Glad you're a member, and feel free to comment away. Feel free to anything you need as well to put your stuff on there. Please do, and we'll put it on there. At the moment, I'll be honest, the last couple of days have been so hectic. I
Mhm.
haven't really checked what's been going on, but after I get some sleep after tonight, I will um, private message every guest today and have a conversation because I really appreciate the time and you sound like an amazing person. So please continue doing what you're doing. And I want to congratulate you as well because you said you're 8 years. Is it 8 years?
Yours,
So
yep.
congratulations, well done. You should
Thank
be
you.
proud of yourself. So well done and keep going. But if you ever need to talk as well, 'cause you still, regardless that you do mindfulness and that, you still might have a bad day. Feel
Yeah,
free to DM me anytime, mate.
thank you. I really appreciate that, Karen.
No, not a problem.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. You know, for all the viewers that have a chance to get to watch the remainder of your experience tonight, continue to cheer 'em on. I definitely got to get some sleep myself, but I'm going to be here until the last waking hour that I can. All
Okay,
right.
thank you so much, Raymond. Thank you so much, and
Okay.
take care. Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Take care, mate. Oh, what a lovely gentleman. Really nice bloke. He was. And definitely again just the first time I'm meeting Raymond on the screen, guys, and again this is what I'm trying to say. It's so inspiring and to know that he's in Canada and s- he's singing off the same hymn sheet of what I'm saying, but has said it in the perfect way. With me, I say it in a different, I beat around the bush kind of way, but what Raymond said was just perfect in everything he said. So really do check his stuff out. And I will say what he done there, the mindfulness and the way he was talking, I've never experienced that. I've experienced a lot of different feelings today, all thanks to all of these professionals and these coaches. Um, and again, credit to him, he's been through drink, drugs, being around the wrong people, smoking, and look what he's done. He's turned his life around, 8 years clean, and he's now helping others. I salute people like that. I really do, and I love to work with people like that in the future. Um, and I believe building relationships with the likes of Raymond and other guests today, we can change the world for the better. We can stop the stigma. We can break the stigma. We can just help educate, and at the same time, we can keep doing our talks on here and supporting the children and us adults going forward. Because again, if we don't deal with it now, ladies and gents, um, there'll be a time where we won't be here anymore, and it's just a matter of fact that we won't live forever. But what about our children? What about your loved ones? So just please do look your left, your right, forward, and behind you, and just know that someone either side of you or in front of you or behind you is going to be suffering at that time. So do ask them. You ask me, are you okay, Kieran? I'm going to say yes. Ask me 3 times. I'm going to end up telling you the truth. So people say it takes 3 times to ask. Keep asking that question. Are you okay? Keep showing people that you care because some people it takes a while for people to say, you know what, Raymond or Matt, I need support. Um, because, for example, Raymond has messaged 5 times and said, Kieran, you okay? You okay? 5 times in 5 days. And I then realised, you know what? I need to tell someone I need help. And he's the one who, and I'm just using us as an example. So just keep checking on people. And regardless if it seems like you're not nagging, you're just saying, are you okay? How are you? You might not get a reply. You might get told thumbs up. And I promise you, members of this safe space between us, so as you know, whoever's a member, I do, or been a member longer than a day or two, I do try and tend to send a message, a check-in message every couple of days, 3 days. Sorry, every 3 days to check in. And it sometimes I get a lot of people thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, and then eventually they come back and say, you know what, I do need help. I've listened to your story. I've listened to someone's story. I need help. So we just got to keep persevering with that, and basically just keep checking in. And what I ask for everyone, and maybe it could be a challenge, and I would love people to join in, is scroll through the Facebook on Say Space Between Us. Check into someone. Oh, I keep rude. Check into someone you've never met. Check into someone you don't know. Check into someone in another country. I promise you, it will make you feel so good inside, and it will make that person think, whoa, I don't even know you, but you're checking on me. Like, wow, it's happened to me this Friday. People who I didn't know texting me, are you okay, Kieran? And I thought, wow, like, thank you. Someone does care for me. Because even though I'm sitting here talking about to use and to save space between us, I don't get checked on in my bubble much. I don't get people in my community saying, Kieran, are you okay? Um, but it means a lot when people do check in. So, and I know that feeling. That feeling is very special to feel. Oh, sorry. It's very special to feel very cared for, and that someone out there cares. So please do check into someone. And tomorrow, I will. I think that'd be a nice little. Do a good deed date on Thursday. Maybe we do that as a community, as a safe space between us, where we do a good deed and we check in on someone we don't even know. So for example, if I'm Kieran, I don't know. Hey, I'm Liana. Liana, I don't think we've ever spoke, so I might mention Liana. And just, hey, I'm checking, and then Matt might go and check in on Raymond because they've not met. So just let's do that and check on people. You might think, oh, it's silly. It's not. Trust me. It'll make you. Trust me. If you feel good in yourself, it will help you as well for doing something good. It's not just about seeing if someone else is okay, but it also helps you inside and helps your mental health and helps your feelings inside, because there's a really good feeling. We're humans at the end of the day. We all have those feelings. We all kind of have the same things inside us, etc. Um, and it's just about how we educate ourselves. Um, but yeah, on that note, guys, we've got a singer coming on in 20 minutes. I'm just gonna have a little toilet break, and I'll be back in 5-10 minutes. And if you're still on, we'll have the lovely Amanda on shortly. And thank you so much, Raymond. If you're still on, really appreciate it. Lovely guy, and hope to talk to you soon. And please, Amanda will be on very shortly. I will be back in 5 minutes. and I'm back. Welcome to the safe space between us. I've been your host, Kieran, for I've lost count, doing a 24-hour live podcast, and it's been an honour and a pleasure to speak to some amazing, inspiring people. And I thank you all for sharing what you do, sharing your stories today and yesterday with me on the safe space. It means I'm really honoured, and you are inspiring the world with me. And together we can make change. And anyone who ever wants to use this platform, please feel free to use it. My message is the same. I have no right, regardless of that I've created this safe space, I have no right to choose who can come and can't come on here. We all have a unique story. So anyone and everyone is welcome to come on here and use this platform. And if you do need support, and I don't think I've really mentioned this, I've mentioned how many people we've supported behind the scenes, because it's not just a podcast, it's about giving that support also behind the scenes and finding you that support locally to you wherever you are around the world. If you do need support and you do need to talk, please do message me. You can. The email is safe space between us at gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, and we do have our own community going on there. It has been public, but the people voted for it to be private, so it's been changed to private, which I think goes effect tomorrow or today, late today. So please feel free to join. Anyone is welcome. We just don't allow any judgment. No judgment. Everyone, I believe, including myself, we shouldn't be judging how what people feel, what people's stories are, and what is unique and what is upsetting, and what people's feelings are. Um, because we all feel different things and feel, but at the same time, we are all human, regardless of color, age, um, color hair, color beard. Um, it doesn't look like I've actually got a blue beard. I don't know why it don't look like on the camera. It is actually blue. Um, you can go closer. So I did dye my blue hair blue, and but yeah, feel free if anyone wants to come on. We've got the lovely Amanda coming on in the next 20 minutes, and then we've straight after that we the 9 o'clock guest is actually coming on at 6 o'clock this morning. So we have got back to back guests coming on, which is great for me. Coming on shortly, so it'd be amazing to keep me up. I feel a bit refreshed now, especially from Raymond's mindfulness. And like I say, I would love, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, the day when I do get a ticket and I can afford a ticket to travel the world, I will come and see majority of the people. I would love to meet you in person. You're all inspiring, and I thank you again for doing so much. But I just want to mention a few things as well. Like I can sit here and talk about the stigma. I can talk about the mission, and which I have continuously. But we're also doing it for a few charities as well, which is also in the UK, but also in America and around the world. And please feel free, or I appreciate if you can't donate, please. There's a fundraising page on a thing, and you can see there's 15 different causes and charities we're doing it for, and none of them is a safe space between us. It's all for these causes. So please feel free to share it, please. I really do appreciate it if you can just at least share it, and hopefully we can find that one person with a big network, a big support out there who can kick it off for us. And I do believe, and on my own or with a team or with a worldwide crew, I believe by the end of this year, latest, a safe space between us will be the safest space to talk, and we will break the stigma and we will break the silence as well. If you are leaving to go bed or you're leaving to go, I don't know what time where people are. Much love, and I appreciate your support this evening and this morning. It does mean a lot to me. It really does, and I'm so grateful for all of you. What I'll do for people who have not heard, I will read this. So I've written a poem which was about my story. So I want to share it with people. If you've not heard it, it doesn't happen very often where I'll share my poem. So I tend to write bits when I find it helps me, and it's my kind of soft area. So I wrote four for today, and they've been repeated a lot. So a poem was about my life. Uh, so I called a poem of me. That's what it's called. I was lost a child, always in trouble, alone, never any friends. My heart an empty throne. But then I met a lady, and our love was true and strong. We were blessed with six children, each one my heart's sweet song. But illness came and trauma too. My heart grew dark and sore. I turned to drink and drugs and debt and lost all that I adored. My wife and children suffered. I knew how I had to change. I turned to self-care and healing, and my life began to rearrange. My children see their father, making strive to do some good, and through the world may judge me, I make them proud like I should. For those who spread the rumours and cast stones with hateful slurs, I won't hold on to anger. I'll break stigma and hate's lure. The safe space is for everyone, for newborns and for all. We'll make the world a better place with love and empathy for all. That was just my little poem. Might He's rubbish, who knows? But yeah, that was a bit about my life. Um, so each little paragraph is basically of a chapter of my life from child to having my kids. And if you haven't checked it out, my kids have been co-hosting with me tonight or last night during this 24 hours. So my twins, Edie and Flo, they're on one of the videos because I've had to do a few different streams because I only get 8 hours per stream from Facebook, so I have to stop at 8 hours. So I think this is the third one. So on stream two, podcast two, you might meet my twins where they talk to the screen. Um, so I hope you enjoy that as well. And you've seen a bit of who I am as a person at home, and that's where I am at home. And you kind of get an understanding of what I have done in the past. I hold my hands up that I learned to drink and drugs. I don't blame anyone, regardless of the circle I was around. That was my own choice. Um, so I don't blame anyone for that. That was my own doing. I put my family through shit. That was my own doing. But I'm managing to try and become a better person, try and do something for the good. And I believe I went through all that to be here today to do to break the stigma. And I will break that stigma uh, with people's help or on my own. Well, that stigma will be broken worldwide eventually before the day I stop breathing. But by the end of this year, a safe space between us will be known of the space to be. And I would love to be there's if you're interested, if you'd like your story to be in a book, I am a few of us have had ideas of putting our stories into a book, but in sequels. So for example, book one will have 5 stories in or 5 stories in, and basically how we linked. So eventually each story will be linked we link to each other with a safe space between us. This is how we've all met. And every person you've met today over the video, apart from one, I've not met in the flesh. Um, and a lot of these people who are co-hosting with me, etc., I've met over the computer, and we and some of them are professionals in coaching roles, mindfulness and stuff. And it's just been amazing. Like I have so much more respect for these people than I ever did for a lot of people I personally know myself. And just try it for yourself, please. If it's not here or somewhere else, try and find that courage, guys and ladies, to find that, and children, find that courage to say, you know what, I am going through a tough time. I need to talk about it. I am getting treated wrong by my partner. I need to talk about it. I am worried about my child. I need to talk about it. Or if you're a child, I'm getting picked on, or if you suffer with autism, dyspraxia, or ADHD, or bipolar, or menopause, talk to us, talk to someone. It's always good to talk because and find that if people are judging you, then you know that they're not. For me, they're not right to be around. You deserve. We all deserve to be happy. Um, and who are we to judge what happiness is to you is different to me. So let's just be proud of who we are and be proud of each other. And I believe we should be celebrating the success of people wanting to talk. So for me, the hardest part was admitting I needed help and seeking that support. Let's celebrate that, because that will give that person an extra bit of push they need um, to go and get that support. So please do try those little things. It will help you, and it will mean a lot. So we've got Amanda coming on in 10 minutes. We'll be chatting, and hopefully she'll be singing some songs and keeping me awake. And then we have another lovely lady on shortly after her with a big story, which she told me briefly over text messenger, but it would be an amazing story to listen to and to air as well. But on that note, I'm just going to have a cheeky cigarette and I'll be back in 2 minutes. But if you do leave, much love. I don't blame you for leaving. So much love and I appreciate it. But if you do leave, feel free to put a comment. I appreciate any comments. So please feel free to comment. Thank you so much. See you in 2 minutes. And I'm back. And again, welcome all, and those who are still here. Thank you for keeping me sane a little bit for talking to me. Again, I just want to say that Ramond, legend, like what a lovely guy. Talks a lot of sense, and his mindfulness coaching was unreal. So please do check him out. I'm going to have a private conversation with him because I would love to work with Ramond as well. So Ramond, if you're still on, I'm actually going to message you now. Actually, um, that's okay. But while I'm still talking, I just want to say again, if there's any support you need out there, or anything I can do, or anyone you want to be in contact with, please just say. I will put you in contact with. I'm not here for just me or safe spaces, for building relationships with people like Ramond as well. So please feel free to talk to come and talk to me, and or say hello, to introduce yourself to some of these professionals. But again, I've been very inspired by a lot of you, and those who are still here. So in 5 weeks, we have supported a safe space between us. I've had 189 people come and seek support, and I'm very chuffed and pleased about that. So, yeah, so please do. And Raymond, if you are on, please check your Facebook Messenger. I'm